Hello.
So, one of our favourite things in the world, or one of my favourite things in the world, is going on holiday. I'm really sad this year because I'm not going anywhere. I was meant to be going on a cruise and it's been cancelled.
I would.
So no holiday this year. So
Margate.
Well, we can go to the beach maybe one day when they open our beaches again.
Margate.
Yeah.
Your gate.
I actually get as much pleasure from and as much excitement from booking and planning a holiday than I actually get going on it.
She has OCD.
I'm a bit OCD, so and it's a little bit like a military exercise, but it's enjoyable and it means that we get the most out of our holidays. The main reason I do this is because one of the favourite holidays that we book is to go to Disney World in Orlando in Florida.
I've only been twice.
I've been
6.
maybe 5 times. I was actually averaging every other year up until I bought the new house, and I've not been for 3 years now. I've not been since 2017, so I've got withdrawal symptoms, and we're actually planning our next Disney holiday next year because
No, we're planning it this year.
we're planning it this year for next year, and we would normally have booked it by now, but things are a little bit strange in the world right now and it's not quite going according to plan. So next year will be Disney World's 50th anniversary and it's our 50th birthdays.
Oh, gits.
Yeah, so we're going to celebrate our 50th birthdays with Disney's 50th anniversary and celebrate in style.
That wasn't deliberate. Well, I don't think my parents ever thought about that back in the day.
All right, they probably never even knew anything about Disney World being open then. So when you're thinking of booking a Walt Disney World vacation or an Orlando, Florida vacation, you might not be into theme parks, but we like the theme park side of it as well. There are lots and lots of different decisions that you need to make. You need to decide whether you would like to stay in a villa if you've got a larger family and you want it to be a little bit cheaper. A villa's probably a good option. You do spend a lot of time looking after yourself doing things like that. I mean, you can still go out to restaurants, but you might want to...
You'll need a car.
You'd need a car, definitely you'd need a car. That way you can go to the local supermarkets and buy barbecue food and make yourself snacks to take into the parks during the day, which makes it an awful lot cheaper doing it that way. You can also book into apartments. They've got apartment blocks there and the same sort of thing. It's self-catering. So you can look after yourselves more or less and pack up your lunch, pack up your snacks, cook for yourself in an evening. When I go on holiday, I do not want to cook anything. I cook every day of the year here. I don't want to have to clean up after myself. I want somebody to look after me. So the other option that you've got is stopping in a hotel, and you've got lots and lots of different options there for hotels. You can stop in hotels on International Drive, and you've got something called the iTrolley, which is like what would you call it? It's like a bus, but it's like what do they call them carts that they have in San Francisco?
Trolley.
A trolley, yeah. That goes up and down International Drive because it is really, really long, and you can walk from one end of it to the other. But if you wanted to get somewhere quickly, you can jump on the iTrolley. You can buy a ticket that lasts you for a length of time. So that's your transport. Most hotels on International Drive will have transport laid on also to get you to the different parks and back.
Apparently now, though, it's not. They don't include free transports to and from Disney parks. Some of them still do it to Universal, but the ones for Disney parks, they don't tend to do a free one anymore.
Right, okay, I don't know that.
Your
other option is, of course, to hire a car, but what you need to bear in mind when you hire a car over there, in most hotels that you stay in, you'll be charged each night for car parking, so that's another expense that you need to add on to your holiday. You also need to take into consideration getting to and from the airport. Now, if you're hiring a car, you pick your car up from the airport, so that's not an issue. But if you don't intend to drive over there, personally, I don't want to drive over there at all.
It's the added stress as well. If you're driving, if you have an accident, that's your
the other thing, if you fancy having a beer when you're at the park in the afternoon or whatever, you can have a beer and not worry about it. But you do need to think about getting to and from the airport. So you can fly into Orlando International Airport,
MCO,
or you can fly into Sanford International,
yeah,
or you can fly a little bit further afield. There's what else is there?
Miami.
Yeah, you can fly into, yeah. I mean, that's quite a long drive. And obviously, if you're flying into one of those faraway airports, then you'll need to also hire a car. So these are all different things that you need to be thinking about when you're looking at booking your Disney holiday.
As well as the cost. I mean, one thing while I remember, because I know I'm going to forget, there's somebody that we've seen on one of the Facebook groups. She did, I don't know if it was 1 week or 2 weeks, excluding the park tickets and the actual cost of the hotel she stayed in, which I think it was self-catering, if memory serves. She did it on $700 for 3 of them.
I've never managed that. I mean, I've been flying backwards and forwards to Disney for a long time. I think the cheapest I've done for hotel and flights was probably about £900, and that's quite a while ago, but that's not including spending money. So the other thing that you need to decide also is whether you actually stay in an on-site hotel at Disney World, or you might choose Universal. I've never stayed in a Universal hotel, so I can't comment on those. Or if you stay off-site, as I said, in a hotel or a villa somewhere else in the area. When I've stayed before, I've done both off-site and on-site, and I'm going to tell you the pros and cons for them. When I stayed off-site, I stayed at Kissimmee, and it was probably about a 15-minute drive into Magic Kingdom. But we did need a car, and I'm going to explain what perks you get on site in a minute, but we'd got all of our meals to pay for when we got there also. Now, you've got several perks that you get when you book on site at Disney World and stop in a Disney hotel, and they've got lots of different sort of category hotels that you can choose to stay in. They've got value resorts, which are great for young families actually. If you've got little kids, they're really highly themed. They've got all different sorts of themes at these resorts. They're not overly expensive. You've got moderate resorts, which are not quite as highly themed, but again, really nice. And they've all got a different theme. You've got one that's themed around Caribbean islands. You've got one that's themed around Mexico. Lots of different things like that. And then you've got the deluxe resorts, which are more expensive, but you get bigger rooms, you get balconies. Typically, the resort will have a gym and all different things like that. So the category resort that you choose, they're all really nice, but obviously as you move up a category, your perks, well, not your perks, the perks are the same for all of them, but the sort of amenities and facilities that you've got at your resort are a little bit more.
Either way, whichever category you go for, if you've got a car, they've introduced something now where you have to pay between $20 and $25 per night to park.
Yeah, so parking at the hotel, the Disney hotels now, you've got to pay for per night. The other thing that you need to take into consideration if you book a car, you'll also have car parking to pay for at the parks.
Yeah.
And that's, I don't know how much that is
That's
now.
$20 to $25.
Yeah. If you go to one park, if you went to Magic Kingdom in the morning and pay car parking, keep your ticket, you can use that again in an evening at a different park. But it's quite a lot of money to add on to the top of your holiday if you've got to pay for parking every day. And if you stop in a resort and you pay car parking at a resort, do you still have to pay for it in the?
I think so, because I think the resort thing is per night, not per day.
Right, okay. Okay, so the perks that you get from staying on site. Just need to interrupt very quickly for 2 minutes. Walt Disney World have recently released a statement saying that in an attempt to control crowd levels and maintain social distancing, some of the perks that we're going to be describing have been cancelled at this moment in time. Hopefully this is only a temporary situation and things will get back to normal as far as the perks go very shortly. Okay. You really don't need a car at all. You get picked up from the airport on something called the Magical Express. You do need to book it before you get there, but if you go on Disney's website, you just put in your flight details, when you're going to arrive, when you're leaving. There's a check-in desk when you've collected your luggage. In fact, you don't really need to collect your luggage; they'll do it for you. But I've always collected mine. This is if you land into Orlando International Airport, you've got the Magical Express. So you get your cases and everything. Go to the Magical Express desk. They've got coaches for each resort, so they'll tell them which resort you're staying at, but you'll have already got that on your information anyway. They'll tell you which queue to go and wait in for the coach to take you. They put the cases into the bottom of the coach for you, and you're off to your airport.
Still no free dining, just checked.
Andy's looking now for Disney holidays. So generally speaking, the journey from MCO to your resort's probably going to take you 40 minutes, an hour.
Who cares? It's Disney. It's magical.
The bus driver's really informative while you're on your way. It's part of your holiday. They even put little Disney movies on for the kids to watch on their TVs while you're travelling. You need to tip your bus driver. Some people don't realise, but everybody in America that gives you a service really you should tip them. Not a lot of money for a Magical Express driver, probably a couple of dollars per case that they've lumped on and lumped off for you. So that's perk number one when you first get there. You've got your journey from the airport to your hotel and from your hotel back to the airport taken care of. You don't need to worry about it, because we were watching something the other night that said generally a taxi from the airport to the resorts is, what did it say, about $140 each way?
For a taxi.
Yeah, I mean, that's expensive.
I mean, obviously you can use things like Lyft. And
Yeah,
Uber.
you want to download Lyft app and Uber app, because they're much cheaper than other taxis that you can get. There are a lot of taxis in the area called Mears taxis, which we've used before. They're very reliable, really good, really nice, but sometimes getting on for double price of Lyft and Uber.
Yeah, I mean, Old Key West before used to be
Old Key West is a resort.
one of the resorts
World.
at Disney's. To, let's say, Universal was about $80 each way.
No, about $50 each way, but I think on Lyft or Uber it's only about $28, so it's a lot cheaper. But anyway, back to perks of booking on site. So your perk number one is your coach to and from the airport. Now, another perk that you've got, I don't know if people have ever looked at Disney World or not, you can book something called a fast pass. And this is to guarantee you access to certain attractions in the park. So if you know which parks you're going to go to,
In a certain time slot.
yeah, you can pre-book 3 fast passes per day in the same park. So you can't book a fast pass in Magic Kingdom, a fast pass in Hollywood Studios, and a fast pass in Epcot. If you're pre-booking your fast passes, you can only book the 3 in one park, not in several parks. But it means that you've got a better chance of getting on the main attractions, because those queues I've seen queues for 6 hours. I would not queue for 6 hours for any attraction, even though some of them are absolutely breathtaking and fantastic. I'm not wasting 6 hours of my holiday. Yeah,
Avatar.
Flight of Passage.
Flight of Passage, Avatar. As soon as we got in there, and this is like 8 o'clock in the morning, we were there within 6 minutes at the queue, and the queue was already at 3 hours.
Yeah, no chance. But if
sorry, I'm going to jump in. On the subject of fast passes as well, once you've used the 3 fast passes, you can then book more.
for that day.
For that day,
Yeah.
and not just in that one park.
No, you can book them for a different, only one at a time though after that. So after you've used your initial 3 fast passes for example, if you book them in the morning, I would book them in the morning if I were you, because it means that you can get more fast passes as the day goes on. So if you've used up your first 3 fast passes by lunchtime, you can have a look to see what fast passes are available, because sometimes people cancel them, and you might be able to grab an extra one in the same park or a different park, and you can keep going like that, one at a time. You can't book the next one until you've used it. Now anybody that's got a Disney park ticket can pre-book fast passes from 30 days before your trip.
30 or 60?
30. So anybody that's got a Disney park ticket can pre-book fast passes. So it's not exclusive to residents of Disney hotels, but if you're a resident at a Disney hotel, you can actually pre-book your fast passes 60 days before you visit.
Sorry.
So if you're a resident, 60 days. If you've just got a ticket to visit and you're not a resident, 30 days. Now, all of those major fast passes will go on day 1 of that 60-day window. So staying on site means that more or less you're guaranteed to get at least one ride or one experience on these major attractions that people are almost fighting for. So that's perk number 2.
On the subject of fast passes, the best, no point us trying to explain it. If you want to see how to do it and how it's done like a pro, have a look on YouTube for allears.net. Have a look for Molly. She managed to do something like 20 odd fast passes in a day.
She's a pro. I mean, we're not pros by any means, but we've got a little bit of knowledge that we're sharing. But Molly, I mean, Tim, well, we've got a few that you should watch.
Yeah.
Have a look on YouTube, look for All Ears Net and look for Molly. Look at Tim Tracker. He's got some really useful information. Disney Food Blog have got useful information.
And this is just not just for the rides, but also for the food, obviously.
Yeah, for food reviews, hotel reviews. They do hotel reviews as well, because you need to investigate these hotels and see which one's going to be best for you, because as I said, they're all themed differently. You might want something a little bit more relaxing, you might want something a bit more upbeat, and the more you look into these hotels, the better prepared you're going to be for your holiday.
In lockdown, we've been watching lots of vloggers on Disney. Another one to mention
just
is
makes me feel a bit homesick for Disney World though.
Yeah, WDW Couple, Walt Disney World Couple.
Yeah.
They're quite good. I mean, I think we've watched most of their stuff as well.
Anyway, back to perks.
Yes.
So you've got your bus to and from the airport, you've got your fast passes. This is a great perk. Every day one of the parks will open early in the morning or stay open late at night just for residents. And these are called extra magical hours. So it's not as crowded. And if you can't manage to bag a fast pass for something that you really want to do, you may well find that the queues are not big on extra magical hours.
Just going to say, when she says residents, she means people that are staying on site.
Yeah, people that are stopping.
Not Florida residents.
Yeah, people that are staying in one of the Disney World resorts. You get your extra magical hours. And I've not mentioned buses to and from the parks, but the buses to and from the parks from the resorts start early enough in the morning for you to get to extra magical hours and finish late enough at night for you to get home from extra magical hours. So another perk of staying on site is the transport system around Disney World is absolutely fantastic. Each hotel resort has a bus service to and from every single park that runs constantly in a loop. So every 20 minutes or so, buses will be coming round to take you to whichever park you want to go to. And that includes the water parks, because you've got 4 Disney World parks plus 2 water parks that you've got to buy the ticket. If you book a hotel, that does not give you access into the Disney parks. You've got to buy the tickets as well. But if you buy the ultimate ticket, you've got the 6 different parks that you can visit, and the buses take you all to these places. Some hotel resorts have got a Skyliner, which is like cable cars, and they take you from the resort to Epcot and Hollywood Studios. So from the Skyliner resorts, the resorts that are on the Skyliner path, you've got access on the Skyliner, the cable cars, to those 2 theme parks. And also some of the resorts have got a boat service, because all of the resorts are built around lakes, and some of the lakes are connected to parks, or Disney Springs, which is a big shopping and restaurant complex that belongs to Disney World. You don't need Disney tickets to get into Disney Springs. Anybody can go to Disney Springs, but your resorts, you'll have a resort bus that takes you there, and some of the resorts also have a boat service, like a little ferry that will take you to Disney Springs. Some of the resorts have got a little ferry that'll take you to Epcot, that'll take you to Magic Kingdom. So the transport...
You've got the monorail as well.
Yeah, there's a monorail that links some resorts to the parks, and some parks to other parks. So, for example, Magic Kingdom and Epcot are linked by a monorail. So you've got lots and lots of options on transport, which again means you don't need to hire a car, and keeps things a little... I'm not going to say it keeps things cheaper for you, because booking to stay on site at Disney is not cheap. You can do it cheaper, but you don't need a car. So that's another perk of staying in a Disney World resort. So we've got
magical extras as well sometimes if they put Memory Maker in.
I said magical extra hours, didn't I?
No, magical extras.
Yeah.
I think Memory Maker.
If you buy a park ticket, quite often if you buy it through the UK website, you get something called Memory Maker added to it. And if you buy a resort ticket when you book your hotel, more often than not you'll get Memory Maker added to it as well. And Memory Maker is like a photo pass. So
videos, yeah.
Yeah. So every time when you're on a ride and you get your photograph taken, or if you see a Disney photographer in one of the parks, you can go up to them and get them to take your photograph, for example, in front of the castle at Magic Kingdom.
And you get your magic bands.
Yeah, not got to that yet.
Where is yours?
Oh, somewhere in my bedroom. You get the photographs included. So every single photograph opportunity that you get, take it, because your photographs are included in the price of the ticket. You don't need to pay anything extra. If you want to buy Memory Maker, because it's not included, you're looking at $200 for that. So that's a saving of $200. Now, we usually... Oh, you get something called a magic band as well. So rather than having like a little paper ticket to get into the parks, or a credit card to get into the parks that you swipe, you get something called a magic band, which is like a
watch.
Yeah, it looks like a watch. Colourful. You can get all different patterns on them. It's got all of your information stored digitally inside there. I don't know how it's done.
It's a central database.
And is more of an IT than
you use
than
that
I
for
am.
getting in and out of your room, wherever you're staying. So if it's a room or if it's a villa or something like that, basically everybody in there, it gives them access to that room, and there's only those people that can get in there. So
it's the key to your room. It unlocks
gives you access into the parks. So obviously, if, for instance, if you're there for Halloween, Mickey's not so scary at Halloween, it'll get you into the park during the day. But if you haven't bought
it's an extra ticket.
It's an extra ticket. So if you haven't got it, you'll not get in, sort of thing. And it's used again when you have your photo took for the photo pass. They'll just scan your magic band, and they automatically show up on on everything else. So you've got apps on the phones and everything else.
You need to download an app called My Disney Experience, and everything that you book will be loaded onto My Disney Experience, and all of your
extra fast passes on there as well.
All of your magic bands are linked to My Disney Experience, and every time you scan your photographs, they're also sent to My Disney Experience.
And they're saved on there for, I'm not sure now, I think when we went last time it was something like 30 or 60 days.
You do have to download them. When you get back, you have to download them, otherwise you lose them. But you've got plenty of time to do that. But any restaurant reservations that you make, everything will be saved on My Disney Experience, and you can download it onto your phone. If you log into Walt Disney World website, you can make yourself a profile and log in on there for My Disney Experience also. Now, when it comes to booking, I 100% prefer staying on site to off site. I've only stayed off site once. The getting to and from the parks was a nightmare in the car. We did have a shuttle bus from our hotel to the Disney parks, but it only ran twice a day or something like that. And if you get a big rainstorm and you want to get home, because it's really rainy over there, sometimes the weather's fantastic. And to be quite honest, we've learnt to live with the rainstorms. Everybody disappears, but we just carry on as if nothing's happening. You soon dry out. But getting to and from the parks was a bit of a nightmare when we stayed in the hotel, and the food was... I found it so expensive to actually have to go out, because it was a hotel. We'd not got self-catering facilities, so we had to eat out, and I found it really expensive. The way that we usually book is every year up until this year, in April, Disney, they're always giving special offers and special deals on the Walt Disney World website. And usually in April, they have a special deal whereby if you book certain hotels for the year after, you get free dining included. And that's usually how we book. We usually book with Walt Disney World Resort Direct, and we get free dining. And the only reason I've not booked for next year yet is because I'm still waiting for free dining to be offered, because it's a fantastic deal. It saves an absolute fortune. But because of what's happening in the world, maybe it's got something to do with it being the 50th anniversary next year as well. Who knows? They've not released that deal. So I'm really disappointed that that's...
Usually when that comes out, you'll get $200 spending money as well per party, which we'll use towards tips. So back to tips again. In the restaurants, we'll use that, and that's on your...
No, it's not. It's a little card that you take out with you.
You can get it added on.
Never seen that before.
To my knowledge.
Never seen that before. It's always been like a little credit card when I've had it.
Yeah, you can also put your credit card details.
You can put your credit card. You can link your credit card details to your room, which is linked on your Magic Band, so you can buy things through your Magic Band and it's billed back to your room. But anyway, back to booking with free dining. Usually when the offer comes out, as I said, it's usually about April. That's when I normally book for the year after. And we've been September time. I've been September time a couple of times, but I actually prefer to be there for the 4th of July. So usually we go a couple of days earlier than the 4th. So the end of June, and stop for a couple of weeks. We're there for 4th of July. I absolutely love it there for 4th of July. So generally speaking, we're booking sort of 15 to 18 months before we plan to travel, which gives you plenty of time to save up as well. If you book through Disney Direct, which is what we do, you don't have to pay for, you only pay £50 each to reserve your booking, and you don't have to pay it in full up until, I think it's 8 weeks before you travel, so you've got plenty of time to save up for it. You can get these special deals also booking through a travel agent, so you can book with TUI, you can book with Virgin, you can book with, what's that? Florida Holidays. Lots of people offer the same deals as Disney. If they promise it you before it's actually been released by Disney, don't believe it, because until it's released by Disney, you don't know if it's going to happen or not. Quite honestly, I've priced it up lots of times booking through Virgin and different companies, and I've always found it much cheaper to book direct with Disney and then book flights at a later date. I scan all over for flights looking to see which best deal we're going to get. Now, to get the free dining, what you need to do usually is you book your hotel, and you've got to be staying for a minimum of 5 nights, but that's not a problem because we're going for at least 2 weeks. Next time I want to go for 3 weeks. So you have to book your hotel room and your park tickets at the same time. So, and then when you go through the booking process, it'll give you the option to add free dining, which of course you're going to do that because it's going to save you a fortune. But you've got to book your hotel and your park tickets at the same time to be eligible to book free dining. Not every single hotel at Disney World will be included in the free dining offer. And they do have some blackout periods when you can't book it. For example, usually Easter holidays are not included, half terms not included, and when you get to sort of September, October, then for the next year, there's no free dining after that point. But for the period of time that we like to go on holiday, which is, as I said, June, July, free dining is usually available. So we'll usually book it that way. And when you book that deal with the free dining, we get all of the perks that I mentioned to you before: the Magical Express, the extra magical hours, everything. The memory makers are included always. You get, as Andy said, the gift card, which has got $200 on it. If you book a little bit later in the year, sometimes they reduce that to $100. But you get a gift card with some dollars on it, which we use towards tips when we're eating in the nice restaurants there.
Just as an aside, I mean, we live in Spain, so obviously we're used to tipping. The mentality in England is you're not used to tipping. Over here, I think we tip on average
probably about 10%.
About 10%, but yeah. I think in America, if you're less than a party of 6, they usually expect somewhere around 15, 18, 20%.
Yeah, they're usually expecting sort of 18, 20% as a tip. And if you've had decent service, it's part of the wages. They get paid not good wages over there for that sort of hospitality industry. Then you need to take it into consideration before it is an expense that you should really pay. You should tip your waiters and taxi drivers and all people. If you let the bellboy take your cases to your hotel room, you should tip him. You need to sort of get that into your mind before you go, that you're going to be expected to leave tips, because that's how it is. Now, as Andy said, we live in Spain. Not every Disney website, because there's different websites for different areas. So you've got a Disney EU, which really should be the website that we book through. You've got a Disney.com, which is the American website. Disney World UK, it's Disney, what is it? Disney, I can't remember what it is, but Disney
Holidays.co.uk. Yeah. It may defer you to another one, but there's an option on the screen. I'll try and plug this in that shows where you can choose.
But to get the free dining offer that usually comes out in April, you need to be on the Disney UK website, because it's available on that website and not on the other websites. For American, for people that live in America, for locals, they offer free dining at different times of the year. We always book through the UK Disney website to get the free dining. So we, as well as booking the flights to America, we fly from the UK. So we fly from Spain to the UK, and that's how we find it cheapest to do. We've not got any direct flights from our local airport, which is Alicante, to Orlando. So we'd have to fly to either Madrid or Barcelona to get there, and it always works out more cost effective for us to fly from, say, Gatwick, but who knows now, because Virgin have pulled out of Gatwick.
Yeah, they're in Heathrow.
Yeah, so we can look at any UK airport really, and you need to be a little bit open about that, looking at from any UK airport for booking your flights, because you might find a massive difference in price between, say, booking from Glasgow and booking from London. There might be a big difference in price, and for us, it's worth travelling. We always travel we travel to the UK the day before.
They love the French. They love air traffic controls. Love a strike.
Yeah, we have an overnight in the UK and then fly to Orlando the next day. But back to dining plans. The free dining plans to start with. There are different levels of dining plans that you can book if you're going to pay for them, because they're available to pay for even if you don't get it free. Whether it would be cost effective to do that or not depends on how much food you want to eat, and the best thing to do to work out whether a dining plan would be useful to you is to actually look at some of the restaurants that you might fancy going to, see what sort of food you'd want to choose from those restaurants, work out how much it's going to cost you per day to be there, and see if the dining plan is going to be worth it or not. The levels of dining plans that they've got that are for sale are the first level is called the quick service dining plan. And with the quick service dining plan, each night of your stay, so if you're stopping for 14 nights, you get 14 allotments of each one of these. You'll get for each night 2 quick service meals, which actually are really, really good. The quick service meals are not just a hot dog and chips. They've got all sorts of different things. You can get Chinese food, you can get Italian, you can get pizzas, you can get burgers, you can get salads. So you get 2 of those a day. It's not table service. So what you're doing is you're ordering your food, collecting it from a counter. They have got seating areas, most of them, so then you go down and sit it. So it's a quicker experience, but the food still is really good. So 2 quick service meals a day. You get 2 snacks a day. And your snacks could be an ice cream, They could be a biscuit, a cake, a muffin.
Don't waste them on bottles of water.
Yeah, don't. You can get
free water.
if you go to any of the restaurant areas or carts around Disney World and ask them for a drink of water. You get it free, so you don't need to buy water at all.
Iced water, yeah.
But for snacks, you can get savoury things like spring rolls, rice boxes from certain places. There's all sorts that you get. So you've got so you get your 2 quick service meals a day, your 2 snacks, and you get a refillable cup. Now, you can't use the refillable cup in the parks, but in your resort, you've got soft drink stations, and in your refillable cup, you can put all your soft drinks, waters, teas, coffees, milk, and it's all included in the price. So it's more or less like being all inclusive, but with cheaper food included. So that's your basic dining plan package that you can pay for. The next one up is called the Disney Dining Plan, which is exactly the same as the one that I've just explained, but instead of 2 quick service meals a day, you get 1 quick service meal and you get 1 table service meal. Now the table service, and with your quick service meals, I forgot to say, you also get a drink included in the price. So with each meal that you go and order, you can have an alcoholic drink, or you can have a soft drink, or a tea or a coffee. So now the Disney Dining Plan that we're just describing to you, get 1 quick service meal with your drink included. You get 1 table service meal, which will include a main course and a dessert and a drink. So again, you can have a specialty cocktail, you can have a glass of wine, you can have a beer, you can have a milkshake, you can have a fruit juice, you can have a soft drink, anything that you want. And again, you get your 2 snacks a day and you get your refillable cup. Now, the difference between quick service and table service is when you have a table service meal, you must leave a tip. For quick service meals, you don't need to leave a tip. The next level of the Disney dining that they've got, I don't know what they call this one because it's a new level. I don't know what it's called, but you get 2 meals a day. Now you can use them how you want to. You can have 2 quick service meals a day. You could have a quick service and a table service meal, or you can have 2 table service meals a day. And then you get your 2 snacks and your refillable cup. And then the deluxe dining plan is 3 table service or quick service meals a day. So you get 3 meals a day, 2 snacks a day, and a refillable cup. Again, including your drinks and everything. For me, that would, believe me, I like to eat, but that would be way too much food. Could you imagine eating all that food? I honestly don't think you'd get down that much food. The dining plan that I like is the not the basic one with the 2 quick services. I like the quick one where you get 1 quick service, 1 table service, 2 snacks and the refillable one. That's the one that I like. And you can use your allotments however you want to. So you can use 1 a day of each one. You can use them all on your first day if you want to. It's up to you. You've got them in your bank when you first check in. So if you're there for 14 nights, you've got your 14 nights allotments in your bank and you use them however you want to, because some of the table service restaurants, the more expensive, posher ones, will use 2 table service dining points. But even though we don't go for the deluxe dining plan, we still have enough credits to do maybe 3 in a fortnight, maybe 3 or 4 2-point restaurants, because we're out and about in other places. So some days we're not using our credits for meals, which means we can save them up and have a nicer meal. Now, the reason I've told you about dining plans now is because of the free dining that you get when you book the Disney holiday, when they've got free dining offer. The level of hotel that you book will determine which dining plan is offered with the hotel that you book. So if you book into a value resort, you will just get included with that resort, the free dining that you'll get will be breakfast only. And you'll get your refillable cup. You'll not get snacks or anything else. But when they say breakfast, what they actually mean is 1 table service credit. No, they don't. They mean 1 quick service credit. So you don't have to use your credit at breakfast. You could use it for an evening meal for a burger and chips or something like that. But you only get one quick service credit a day with that option and a refillable cup. If you book into a moderate resort, you get quick service dining plan. So you'll get your 2 quick service credits a day, your 2 snacks a day, and your refillable cup. Now, that's what's included free. You have also got the option to pay to upgrade your dining plan if you want to, which if I was stopping in a moderate resort, I would upgrade my plan to Disney dining plan, because we like to sit and have in nice restaurants and have a nice meal, and we like to do a few buffets and a few character dining, and they take up table credit. So if I was stopping in a moderate resort, personally I would upgrade, but depends on you. You might be happy doing the quick service. The other thing you've got to take into consideration is when you go to a table service meal, it is going to take longer. So if you want to spend all your time in theme parks and you don't want to be bogged down with sitting in a restaurant eating, I wouldn't want to be sitting in a restaurant eating, but some people don't, then you might want to stick with the quick service dining plan. If you book into a deluxe resort, which up until now I've always been lucky enough to book into a deluxe resort, you get the full Disney dining plan included. It's not the deluxe dining plan, it's the standard dining plan where you get a quick service, a table service, 2 snacks and a drink. And that's, for me, is we've usually got credits left at the end of our holiday and we're spending them in the sweet shop to bring sweets back for everybody. But that's what you get with the free dining if you book through Walt Disney World. The other thing that sometimes Disney offer, when they've not got free dining offer on, you might get free nights. So if the food's not something that you're interested in, because it is a lot of food, an awful lot of food, if that's not something that you're going to be interested in, you might be more interested in free nights, because that can also save you a lot of money. So it could be sort of, you pay for 10 nights and get 4 nights free. That does make your holiday quite a little bit cheaper as well. The other thing, just about dining plans as well, children under 3, you don't need to buy a park ticket for them. They don't need the dining plan, they can eat off your plate. If it's a buffet, you can get them a bit of food on their own plate. Age 3 to 9, they're classed as children, and they have to order off the children's menu, either quick service or table service, but their dining plan, if you were to pay for it out of pocket, the dining plan's cheaper. Children over 9 are classed as adults, so it's their adult dining plan that they get, so they can order off the adult menu. You can order extra things. So if you go for a table service meal, for example, you'll get your main course and your dessert included in the price and a drink. If you wanted a starter and a couple more drinks, you can have them by all means, or any extra little bits you can have them, but you pay for them at the end. So as I've said, we usually book direct through Disney. Now, because you're booking your hotel and your park tickets through Disney World, and it's at the Disney Holiday UK site, they are travel agents, they are ATOL protected, and because you're booking your hotel and your park tickets together, that's classed as a package, so that's protected by ATOL anyways, because it's a package holiday. I always book my flights separately, and usually, well, always with either flown Virgin or BA. But there are all sorts of different airlines that fly out there. Even Norwegian, you can get a bargain sort of basement flight with Norwegian Airlines.
Or American Airlines.
Yeah, American Air. There are lots and lots of different airlines. Lots of like German Airlines, or KLM. There are lots of different companies that fly out to Orlando. But to be quite honest, you're on that aeroplane for a long time. How long is it? 8 hours, something like that. I personally want a little bit of comfort. I know I'm going to get something nice to eat. I've got plenty of entertainment because they have a great system built in where you can choose your films. There are TV series, there are games, all sorts of things to keep you occupied while you're on that journey. Because I can imagine it could be really boring if you've not got all of those things to do. So I prefer to book a nicer flight. I think you need to budget probably between £500 and £600 for a flight. If you get it cheaper than that, then it's a bonus. Because you're not booking as a package, because you've booked your hotel and your park ticket separately, like I've said, they're classed as a package. Your flights are not part of your package, so if anything goes wrong, that you're not going to be at all protected for those. So book them on a credit card, and it just gives you a little bit of extra security, because your credit card should give you some sort of insurance.
I'm trying to think, there was something to do with food that I was trying to remember, and it's gone again.
Don't know.
Right, okay, so on the subject of food, it's up to you guys to decide whether or not going for a dining plan is worth it or not. We did a little thing the other day whereby if Disney dining is not available, we looked, and we're going to stay on site, we looked at whether or not it was more beneficial for us to pay for it as opposed to not pay for it and pay for the food when we get there. So as an example, I'm looking for, at the minute, for 3 weeks going 28th of June next year. And this is at Riverside.
Port Orleans Riverside.
Which is a moderate resort.
Yeah.
The plan, the quick service dining plan is basically £42 a night.
For an adult. £20 a night for a child.
All right. The Disney dining plan, which is typically
The one that we go for.
the one we go for, is £60 per night per adult, and everybody that's in the room has to take it. They have to pay for it regardless. It's not open for discussion. It's either all or none. We just had a quick summary of like, okay, so if we picked a generic restaurant in Disney Springs, for instance, I think we looked at Deluxe Burger was one.
Yeah, which is a quick service restaurant.
So we looked at the cost of that, and then we looked at Chef Smith's Art Smith's Homecoming,
which is a table service
Which is
restaurant.
table service.
Not a mega expensive one or anything like that.
and the prices actually came in at, when we converted it to dollars and messed around, the prices came in where we could eat roughly the same price, but then on top of that we've got taxes, no snacks, no drinks. So for us, it's going to work out better for us to actually pay for it. So yeah, it might be an additional for the 3 weeks. I think it works out.
I think it's about £1,200 each.
About £5,000
Yeah, for 4 of us.
for 4.
There'll be
Yeah,
4
4
of us.
adults.
Yeah, we're 4 adults. Let me have a look at that again. The Disney dining plan for it's £73 per night for Disney dining
No,
plan.
you're looking at the wrong one.
Oh right, so what's that one then? Is that the deluxe?
That's the dining plan.
Ah
plus.
right, okay. So it's cheaper, so it works out even better than we thought it did. So
I know, because we worked out when we did it to
Nine-
dollars, it was about $65. or
no,
something.
no, I worked that one out. But anyway, so the Disney dining plan, £60 a night for an adult, £23 a night for a child. But if you're gonna be doing lots of eating on site,
It's got to be
work
for, like I
it
said,
out.
it's got to be for everybody, and it's got to be for the whole duration of
Yeah.
the holiday. You can't do it for, we're going for 3 weeks, we can't do it just for 2 weeks. Not going to work. It's got to be for 3 weeks.
Right, back to flights again quickly. Most companies release their flights 11 months before the date of flying. So if you want to start, what I generally tend to do is, I'm always on the internet trawling for prices. I'm looking the year before to see roughly what the prices are going to be for the year after. But if you start looking 11 months before your return flight, because you'll want to book them both together, and if you look 11 months before your flight out, your return flights won't be available yet. But that's when most companies start to release them. And for us to go in sort of June, July, the best prices for flights, if I were looking for this year, last year, the best time for us to book would have been September last year, because when they first start to come out, they're quite high. And then when everybody's released them, they're all sort of in competition, and they go down a little bit and then they go back up again. So if you look at sort of 11 months out to book your flights, if you want to do it separately, might be that you feel more comfortable a travel agent doing it all for you. Like I said, I really enjoy trawling and booking and planning and everything, so it's part of the enjoyment for me, and I like to think I've got a decent deal when we come to the end of it, and I've got probably the best price I possibly can do. Now when we're in Disney World as well, we always like to do at least 2 days in Universal Studios. That's another thing you need to look. If you're going to do this, you don't have to do Universal Studios. If it's going to be your first visit, you might find that Disney's enough, because it's going to take you ages to look around everything in Disney. It's
You'll
huge.
not see all of it.
No way. I mean, it's the same. It's the same size as San Francisco, I think. That's what. I mean, it's enormous. So you're definitely going to need more than 1 day in each park to see most of it. You're not going to do it all, like Andy said. But if you do fancy, especially if you've got older kids, Universal Studios and Universal Island of Adventure are great for older kids. Now, as I said, we always like to do a couple of days. I always look on the English site for tickets and on the American site for tickets, and also Florida Tix and attraction tickets, because they've all got different prices at different times, and just buy whichever ones are the cheapest. You might find it's actually cheaper to buy a 2-week ticket rather than a 2-day ticket. So look at all different options. I've done that a few times, buy a full 2-week ticket rather than a 2-day ticket, and you can buy tickets that get you into one park 1 day and the other park another day, or you can buy a ticket where you can go from one park to another. I like that ticket best, because then we can swap from one park to another. And also, if you're a Harry Potter fan, you've got the Hogwarts Express, which takes you from one park to another, and if you've not got that hopper ticket, you can't go on that attraction. So look out on all those different sites to see where you're going to get your best price for your tickets. The other thing to do is, if you want to go to somewhere like Discovery Cove or
NASA,
lots of different places. Yeah, we did NASA. I thought it were a bit boring. I'm really sorry, but anyway, whatever. If they've got a space shuttle launch next time, well, do they still do a space shuttle?
No.
Right, okay. If they've got a rocket launch next time, then we'll go again. But if they don't, we won't. So the other thing to do is wait for the Black Friday sales, because they do reduce the prices loads. I've not seen the Universal tickets reduced, but for places like Discovery Cove, they do reduce them sometimes by 50 and 60%. So that's a great time to snap up tickets, and they're for the year after as well. So you buy them on Black Friday and they're valid for the year after
There's
that.
not fun at the minute, 40% off.
Is there?
Yeah.
And also look on Groupon, because Groupon do have some offers too. So that's everything about buying tickets, I think. And you think of anything else?
No.
You can get different day trips.
They'll typically pick you up. What'll happen is they'll pick you up. City Wonders do them, don't they?
Yeah, you can do beach trips and all sorts
they'll
of
pick you up from
things.
one of the resorts, so you might have to catch. I think when we did the NASA one, which we were supposed to be doing the Everglades on the boats as well, didn't happen because of the weather and everywhere was flooded. So we ended up spending more time in NASA and got wet there instead.
Yeah.
But they picked us up from Swan and Dolphin.
Yeah, which is it's not a Disney hotel, but it's sort of on.
It's like a partner hotel sort of thing.
Yeah, because if you book a partner hotel, you don't get all the perks that I told you about. If you book through a Disney hotel, you get more
some,
perks
but not
then.
all of them.
Yeah. So just very quickly back to restaurants. Now, you need to really research restaurants really quite well.
When you're staying on site as well, I don't know if you mentioned this. When you're staying on sites, you can book the restaurants 60.
No.
Is it more?
Anybody can book 180 days out, which is 6 months before you go.
No, the restaurants.
Yeah, the restaurant's 180 days.
Right.
Right.
All right.
Is that 6 months? Yeah, it
yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
But you don't have to just be staying on
But
site.
what if you're not?
What if you're not staying on site?
Yeah.
Anybody can book a Disney restaurant 180
okay.
days out. So all the really popular restaurants.
You cut this out of a little bit.
No, because you're just making a fool of yourself. So leave it.
Whatever.
So all of the really popular restaurants do book up 180 days before the date, which seems absolutely absurd, really, that you're going to book a restaurant 6 months before you actually go to it. But for me, that's brilliant, because it means that every single day that we're there, we know where we've got fast passes in the morning, so we know where we're going to. We know where we're eating in an evening, so we know where we're going to. So we don't waste time. I hate going on holiday, especially when you're a few people and you're walking from one restaurant to another and you're looking at restaurants, should we eat here? And everybody's saying, no, I don't fancy that. Let's move on to the next one. And you spend 3 hours deciding where you're going to eat. With this, you've done it 6 months earlier. But the popular restaurants, you do need to book 180 days earlier, because more likely than not, you won't get a reservation if you don't. So what I suggest you do, if you're stopping on site and you've got the dining plan or you're going to buy the dining plan, if you look on Walt Disney World website and you click on things to do and all dining, it will give you a list of restaurants that you can eat at. How many did it say there were?
About 400.
There are loads of them, and most of them are included either
that's quick service, food carts and everything else, but there's about 400.
There are lots and lots of restaurants, and it takes you ages to go through them, but we read through all the menus.
We have a look at the menus, see what we like. I'll add something into this so you can see where it's all got, how many points there are, where they're located, that sort of thing, so we can tweak it and do it that way. I mean, we went last time and we actually was changing, because I think you can do it up to 24 hours before the booking.
Yeah.
We were actually cancelling because the menu had changed, because we booked it that far. We looked at the menu that was available and we were like, we don't really fancy any of that, so we cancelled it and booked something else.
But you do have to cancel your reservation, because what they do is, every time you book a restaurant, they will take a credit card detail from you. They don't charge anything to the credit card, but if you're a no-show, you'll be charged, is it $10 a person for a no-show? So if
some of them you have to preload it in advance. So
only Cinderella's Rose Table.
As well.
But if you're on the dining plan, they don't, because you're not paying for it, because your dining plan covers it. So if you're on the dining plan, it's all linked up. It won't do that. But so you do need to cancel your reservations if you're not going to turn up. Otherwise, you're going to get charged $10 each for not turning up. But definitely read through all those menus. What we tend to do is make a short list of restaurants that we like the look of.
It's not just us two, by the way.
The two kids as well. My two kids. Well, one's 21 now.
As of yesterday,
and the others, she'll be 15 when we go next time. So both adults, as far as the food goes. Yeah.
And we've got experiences we've had from food we've gone before. Some of them we can't remember. I've never been over impressed with 2-pointer places. I think I've had better meals, actually quick service. I mean, Last time we went, the first thing we did, we went to Deluxe Burger as soon as we got there, and actually that was probably the most memorable one.
It was a really good burger in Deluxe Burger, and I'm not a big burger fan at all. Burgers are not my thing, but Deluxe Burger is really good, and it'll be our first stop when we get there again next year.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, we sort of land probably about 3 o'clock time. It's getting on for, I don't know, 5, 6 o'clock by the time you get to your resort. Dump the cases, over to Disney Springs, a bite to eat, a quick mooch round, and then back up because you're absolutely shattered and you'll want to be sleeping. So that's what we do. And then an early morning the next morning, because you'll be up at the crack of dawn because of the time difference. So we generally speaking book Chef Mickey's character breakfast for the second morning.
That's not rated by many people. We love it.
If you do watch Disney Food Blog and all these, they slate Chef Mickey's, they don't like it, but we absolutely love Chef Mickey's. And I've been, every time that we go, it's our must-do dining experience. It's just so much fun, and the food's really good. I don't understand why they don't like it. I forgot what I was saying about restaurants now, about booking them. I know what I was saying. Yeah, because they release because you can book them 6 months in advance, just about the same time that you can book your restaurants, Disney will have also released sort of the timetable and the hours for the different parks. So you can see whereabouts they've got the magical extra hours in an evening. So we've made our short list of restaurants, and we try and book the restaurants close to where the parks have got extra magical hours in an evening, so that we can go and eat and then go to the extra magical hours afterwards. If there are no extra magical hours in an evening because we've been in the morning, that might be when we fit in the Disney Springs restaurants, because Disney Springs have got a great selection of restaurants, but it's not at a park. It's like I said, it's the shopping and food centre, which is great. So that's how we'll generally do it. Make the short list, look where they've got the hours, the extra hours, and try and book it there. I actually make a plan that we take with us that tells us where we're going every day.
I'll try and put some of that on this video.
It won't be filled in yet because we don't know when we're going yet, because we've not booked it. By now it should already have the dates on it, but it's not, because we've still not got the free dining offered.
Another thing as well, this is the side, you can get, we've never done this, you can get stuff delivered, online grocery delivers to your hotel. So obviously if you go into the resorts and you go to the shops that's at the resort, things like water,
you've got your convenience store at your resort. Yeah,
not cheap. We actually found when we went last time or the time before. Time
before, yeah.
What happens is we caught the bus or the ferry to Disney Springs, and then you go out of Disney Springs, over the highway there's a garage, petrol station.
It's like a 24/7 or 7-Eleven, whatever.
7-Eleven, yeah. In there they've got all sorts. And when we walked across there was actually a taxi driver that was filling his car with fuel. So we said, can you wait 5 minutes? We went in, bought a load of drinks, snacks and everything else. It worked out a hell of a lot cheaper doing that and paying for the taxi back to the resort.
It probably would even work out cheaper to get a taxi to Walmart, stock up on the things that you're going to need. But remember, if you've got dining plan, you're going to get 2 snacks a day anyway. But it's nice when you get back to your resort in an evening to sit and have a glass of wine or a can of beer or something like that. But if you're buying them from your hotel shop, you're going to be paying top dollar from. I mean, you'll have a nice bar at your hotel, and it's nice to sit at your bar and have a drink again, but it's expensive. And every resort at Disney World in an evening put up a big screen projector and play Disney movies outdoors, and you can sit down and relax while the kids are watching a Disney movie, although mine are getting a bit old now, although no, they're not, because they're always watching Disney movies, aren't they? But if you've got little kids, it's nice that the kids can sit there and watch a Disney movie. You can sit there and have a drink, just chill out, because believe me, your legs and your feet are going to be absolutely killing you by the end of the day. You're going to be walking miles and miles and miles.
I think we average between 20 and 22 miles a day. Kilometres a day. 20 and 22 kilometres a day on average.
It's a lot of walking. So by the end of the day, your legs are throbbing. You just want to sit down, put your feet up, and just have a relax. So that's another thing, you need to make sure you've got comfy, bedded-in shoes to take with you. Yeah. Don't be taking new shoes that you've never worn before, because your feet will be in bits.
I think that's about it.
Yeah, I think that's it.
If you've got any questions, any hints, any tips, I always like to find out something new. Get in touch. Plenty of ways you can get in touch. Either get in touch with us through YouTube, get in touch with us through Instagram or Twitter. I'm still not on the website.
Yeah, you'll get around to it eventually. Or if there's anything that you'd like to know from us, let us know, and we'll answer your questions. If you'd like us to do a vlog about living in Spain, pros and cons of living in Spain, about doing your shopping in Spain,
Yeah,
local markets, things like that. Let us know and we'll do that too.
they're easing lockdown now here a little bit, so we're allowed out a little bit more.
Yeah,
as you
it's
probably
been-
see from the video
It's
that
been quite
we're doing
difficult
now
to do.
from this weekend.
It's
So,
been quite difficult to do any videos at all up to now because we've not been allowed out anywhere.
yeah.
So not unless we did a video of the police chasing us down the road, that might be interesting.
I'm not even going to mention about me getting pulled up with a dog.
Yeah. Right, so that's it then, guys. Thanks a lot for listening. If we've not bored you too much and you've not switched off half an hour ago, thank you.
All right, speak to you soon.
See ya.
Hasta pronto.
Hasta pronto. Bye.